Okay. All right. So I think the YouTube stream is running now as well. Yep, YouTube stream is running there as well. So yeah, I've basically just drawn in a bit of the figure, a couple of figures in the background. I accidentally set the stream to private before, so I don't think anyone was able to actually see what was going on. But yeah, in a nutshell, what I've done is that I've separated the scene into half. So at the halfway point, I've drawn a line, and I've drawn in the left and the right hand side of these ledges. Okay, and yeah, for those of you who have been to Prague or maybe have seen some photos of Prague, it is absolutely beautiful, and I think this is just a classic scene that some people go to when they start learning watercolors to try to paint. But often people find things like this really tricky because of all the complexity, all the detail that you get in. You know, you get all kinds of figures, all kinds of people. Look at all these bricks in the ground. We're not going to get in any of those bricks. We don't have to worry about any of that. But I'm going to show you basically the simplified way to do things. So that's a lamp I've put in, and the top of that lamp, I'm just looking at it as it's right like a triangle. Really, it's almost like a triangle shape. The top has got bits and pieces sticking out, no problems. Okay, more of these statues, and again, these statues are no big deal. They're just going to be a bit of a silhouette that comes forward, I suppose, from the background buildings and stuff like that. Okay. And when you're drawing the statues, like I was saying before, you want to make them kind of look like, I mean, they're basically people. You're drawing figures. If you can draw a person, you definitely draw some of these statues. You know, it might even come across here and think, I want another lamp here. Yeah, you can put one in there as well. That's some artistic license. And, you know, for example, I might have another figure here. I just think that there's a void in this section and I need something to just keep the eye moving through the scene. Okay, let's have a look. There's so many figures out the back, and in a previous workshop, I did show you guys a little technique that I use to get in people. And what I do is that I put the heads in first. So you start with these little squares, like little rectangles, and then, you know, I put a few of these rectangles in here, and then you put the bodies in after. Okay, the legs in after, like that. And when you got these figures in the back, there's not much you really need to do there. Just a quick indication of something happening. But I do like to put in a few of these figures because they make the scene look more interesting. A bit more of a busy day, you know? Another person maybe walking into the scene. But we have this main figure here in the foreground. It may be nice to have another one just like walking either to the left or the right. Yeah, maybe just put in another person coming forwards, a bit like this, leg out coming forwards here, and then this leg maybe going to the back. Okay. So, oops, maybe a bit more forward like that. So that I've just got a bit more of a lead in. You know, I've got this larger figure out the back. Okay. And yeah, so that's basically the drawing of the figures, everybody. And what I'm going to do now is just get in like a silhouette of these buildings out the back. And again, let's look at simplifying. How can we simplify these buildings down? Now, if you just, this is a technique that I learned from another watercolor artist, Joseph Zavukovic, but if you squint, you can actually just reduce all those background bits and pieces into one big shape. It kind of just makes the scene look a bit blurry. And what I'm going to do, I see here like it's a rectangle. Yeah, it's a rectangle there. What have you got here? You know, this top part, it's actually a little bit, I've left in I've left in quite a bit of the sky. I might actually increase the length of this a bit, tiny bit like that. There. This is the Charles Bridge over in Czech Republic, and look at the way we're just simplifying these things down. That's kind of like a rectangle. Yeah, rectangle with a funny looking base, and this is a rectangle too at the bottom. Okay, we're just looking at ways that we can simplify. Looks like there's a triangular shape here in the background. Let me just reduce that down a teeny bit. Reduce the size of that one down a teeny bit more. Bring it here. Let's have a look. It kind of finishes about halfway up through the tower, like here. Yep. There is another building here in the background. Again, triangular rooftop, like that. There is some other building here, like with a funny sort of tower sort of building there. And then here to the left, you've got this dome, this larger kind of dome. Okay. And so I can just simplify this down like a semicircle. And then on top of that semicircle, you've got this kind of boxy shape, and then you've got another semicircle on top. That's it. That's all you need to put in there. Okay. And remember, all that background stuff is, I'm going to get that in one silhouette. I'm actually going to try to figure out the detail on it as we go. Okay. Another building here to the right. Buildings there to the right. So we've got something here to work with. Okay. We've got Stacy here, says hi. Thank you for going live. I have you running in the background as I'm sewing. I lost my watercolor mojo, but enjoy watching what you create. Yeah, it's, you know, it does happen from time to time. But if you, essentially just pull out the sketchbook and give it a crack, you'll be surprised at what you end up with. Just having a look here. Having a look here on YouTube. Great. So there's a couple of you guys on YouTube as well. Tomahawk Riddles and Aggressive Koala. How you going? From Montenegro. Good to see you. Again, Aggressive Koala, and that you can make this one. What else do we have? We've got Marie. Good to see you, Marie, from the UK. Marie Mundi. Freezing here with the snow. Okay. Let's get going. And with the painting, she increased the brightness of this light a teeny bit more. Okay. Now, 3 brushes. I like that last session that I ran where I had 3 colors, 3 brushes. So I want to actually do it again. And in fact, it simplifies things for me as well. I'm going to use a smaller mop brush. You could really get this whole painting done in 2 brushes. Just a small mop brush and a small synthetic round brush like this. Okay. Let's get started. I'm going to pick up the mop brush, and the predominant color that I see in this scene is basically this warm golden kind of light, and I'm yet to decide whether I want to just keep that or basically keep that or change it around a little bit. But if I just use yellow ochre, which is the only warm color that I really have besides red, we can get in. Let's just mix in a lot of water. It's yellow ochre. Here you can see my palette to the right, just a little bit of what I'm doing. Okay, it's lots of water. It's about 5 to 10% paint, and the rest of it is water. Okay, and so I'm going to go over the top of all of these buildings because they're basically all, as you can see, they're basically all just this yellowish color anyway, except for maybe the top parts of the building. And the mop brush is great because it allows you to sort of dance around the page. Okay, it just allows you to dance around and not worry much about all the little details because we obviously can get them in afterwards. The most important things is to have a cohesive larger wash and large shapes that are in here. So for example, these buildings in the background, that needs to be very obvious. Okay, the edges of those buildings, and you've got this tower here as well. And, you know, I will actually drop in a bit of blue or something in them later on, I think. But as you can see, it's all just yellow. I'm just putting in this yellow ochre here. Yeah. Everything's pretty much just yellow, and this is good as well because you're going to be able to get in these details on these figures, like a bit of the light maybe reflecting off the figures. But what I really like when playing around with these yellows as well is mixing up myself a nice darker purple to go with it. And what I'm going to do is on the tops area here, I'm going to mix my three primaries together. I'm going to be using a bit of yellow, a bit of red, and a little bit of blue. And we're going to mix them all together to get ourselves a nice gray color. So ultramarine blue, got a bit of ultramarine. It's kind of pretty dried up. Last time it was just too much. I used way too much of it. And here's some more red, perylene red. Okay, so this is kind of making a little purple. And then into that, we're going to mix a bit of this yellow ochre. Bit of that yellow ochre. Maybe a bit more blue. I'm just trying to get myself a grayish sort of color. Okay, but it is coming out a bit. There we go. That's a little bit better. Yeah. So mixing basically your three primaries together. A bit more yellow. And take your time when you're doing all this mixing, you know, you will come up with... There we go. That's probably what I want. Something like this. Very muted down kind of purplish grey color. Because I want to use some of this to mix in with the yellow ochre here. And that's just so that I can get in a little bit of... Yeah, just a little bit of darkness in the ground. Not much, but I don't want it all to be the same kind of yellow color all the way through. Okay, so it's kind of like a darker yellow color, almost like a muted down yellow color. Okay, let's go over the top of everything, move this down to the base of the scene. I might pick up my larger mop brush as well. This has just got more water in it, so allows me to pick up more water, makes this easier. I can just finish this quite quickly. A bit more yellow in there. Kind of want it. I want to make it look like there's more yellow kind of in the background, and then it just fades off a bit more here in the foreground. But you might decide something different. You might want to keep the really sort of bright yellow values in there. Okay, while the painting is still wet, the paper is still wet, you can modify and change things around. As you can see, just click paint through. Okay, and let's have a look. What else do we have? The sky, a little bit of that sky. Let's put in some ultramarine blue into this mix up the top, and I'm going to create this sort of grayish, purple grayish kind of looking sky. Okay, not too much color, but enough coolness up there still. Okay, enough coolness so it still kind of looks like a sky. Okay, it's a very diluted down ultramarine blue mixed with a touch of this kind of grayish color. Okay, but you know, because it's basically a little bit of dulled down purple that I mixed up before. I'm only using 3 colors, remember, to mix together. And we're going to go all the way around, okay, and you can see where it sort of hits the buildings, and I'll just stop there, you know, continue on here. Okay, the tip of that brush you're using to just cut around everything as well. So you can see it just helps a great deal when you've got a brush that's got a tip, a smaller tip like this. Gives you that precision. Okay, there we are. So you can leave it like this, or if you want, you can do what I like to do often, and that's to put in some kind of cloud shapes in areas like this with a bit of that mop brush. Just feather in a touch of these, you know, colors like that, and you can see it just blends into the paper because we've got a lot of wet areas. Okay, so it looks a little bit more interesting, and I like to make the clouds smaller and down the bottom, but up the top I'll make it darker and the clouds larger. But too many clouds and it starts then looking a bit like a stormy, like a storm's coming. But just these softer clouds, that's fine. All right. So that's your first wash. That is basically your first wash, and you know you've got a little bit of extra that you can do, but I think that should be good. We can get in everything else in the second wash. Let me know how you're going. I think we've got about 16 or so people watching at the moment. And yeah, I'm going to dry this off. Doesn't take me too much to dry it off these days. It's warming up a fair bit over here in Melbourne. And Marie says, haven't painted for weeks either, Darren. You certainly helped me with your guidance. Yeah, thanks, Marie. And yeah, just give it a go. Are you painting along, or are you just watching today? Let's get going. And for this second wash, we're only going to need 2 brushes. Really, I've got a small round brush. I don't think I've got anything else. I've just got, yeah, I'm going to be just using this. I mean, I could really pick up a smaller round brush, but I reckon we can get it done with just these couple here. Yeah, this probably needs a bit of replacing, this round brush. The tip's starting to dull off a little bit, but that doesn't matter. So I'm going to go into the background building, and for that I'm going to mix up a darker sort of shade of this kind of grayish color. So a bit of ultramarine blue. Okay. Ultramarine blue. Some red. Perylene red. Okay. Ultramarine blue, perylene red. And let's grab some of that yellow ochre here. Mix that in. Okay, maybe some more blue in here. More blue. Okay. I just want to dull this down a little bit more. Some more yellow, perhaps, to just grey the thing. Just grey it down a bit more like this. Okay, that's better. I find that the yellow kind of dulls everything down in a weird way. Once it all turns purple, with the red and the blue mixed together, it turns purple, and then you add some yellow in it, and that's what kind of makes it turn more grayish, I suppose. All right, so pick up some of this color, and we're going to do this all in one go. In this background, I'm just trying to get this all in one big sort of silhouette. Here's the top part of this tower, and I'm using about 50% paint, 50% water. Okay, and if I can really just do this in as few brushstrokes as possible, it's almost a challenge for me as well. You know, how to just make sure that I get in the real basics of this scene, the essentials of what's going on, like that. And it's all just this silhouette here in the back, remember? Okay, and as we move down, there's even some areas that you can see the light sort of peeking through, like here, like a couple of windows. So you can just cut around those little windows as well, like this. Don't need to, but I'll see if it works. It might look okay. Yeah, that's like one window I can put in, and maybe another there. You don't need to, but not bad. So it's just trying to get in this silhouette of the buildings in the background, okay? And they're not all the same value as well. Like here, they're actually a lot lighter. As you can see, these buildings to the left become a lot lighter, so I can start putting in a little bit more water into this mix, okay? And kind of transforming it down into a darker shape, but not as dark as, say, the top of that building in the back. You can also play around with other little bits of blue, like you can chuck in a bit of blue in there as well, like this. I always like to vary those grays up a bit. And you see all these figures underneath. I'm cutting around all those figures. You can see their heads just sticking out of this, okay? But notice how I'm just getting in all these buildings in a few large brushstrokes, kind of like a few little swoops of color. All right. Here's another building here. Let's just get that in quickly, like that, in the back. There we go. We've got this wall here in the foreground. I'm going to have to get to that in a moment, but before we do, I still need to get in this tower here to the left. Not tower, this dome. Just oh, sorry guys. I don't know what happened, but the program crashed, so I'm back now. I think I've had about 5 different technical issues today. This is not fun, but yeah, let me know how you're going. I can still see there's a few people that have rejoined. It looks like the stream is still going well. I don't know what happened. It just sort of stopped halfway and the program crashed, restarted, and took a little while to reconnect. Okay, so in the time that happened, some of this stuff has already dried, but I'm basically just going through here in the back, and I am putting in this shape, this general shape of this building, and it's like this kind of dome shape. And let me see if I can actually bring up that photograph again. Just have to bring up that photograph again. Realize I don't have the reference picture up on my other screen. Okay. Okay. Here we go. All right. How are we all doing? I can aggressive koala. I can still see that it's streaming from my end. But yeah, let me know. Let me know if it's all okay from your side. Same with anyone watching on Facebook. If everything's, yeah, just let me know how everything is going. All right. So I'm going to get in this basic shape here of this dome, and this is what happens, especially if you don't do it fast enough and things start to dry. It becomes very tricky to get this nice sort of fluid one wash effect. Okay, but it is still possible, but you have to try to do it all in one go. Okay, so that's the dome, and we're gonna make it this nice semicircular shape. And oh, that's right. This is just give me a second. For some reason, I don't know why it's not picking up my face. Probably on the other. All right. I think I'm back again. Yeah, there's just some issues with the program. I updated it yesterday, and yeah, I don't know what the deal is. Seems a little bit unstable this time around and keeps crashing on me, but yeah, let's continue on. I really just want to get onto painting. Okay, so fingers crossed. Fingers crossed will be the last sort of issue that pops up. But anyway, this same sort of color, I'm going to go all the way across, down, and paint around, for example, like this lamp as well. I'm going to paint around that lamp and this little, whatchamacallit, statue here too. All right. Bring this all the way down into the wall. And the wall has actually got so much light on it, if you can see, just all this light, and that's what we want to preserve as well. So cutting around that wall. This wall is completely different. It's actually darker because the light is coming from that right hand side. And let's just go in. There is some type of look, there's this sort of tower here or over in the distance. Simplify that down, that maybe. And what else do we have? We've got another sort of maybe just make this sort of building blend in here. This wash is already dried, so it's difficult now to blend this color in, but I can still do it. But yeah, it works best if you do it all in one wash, obviously. But it's okay. I'll get through it. Alrighty. So that's one basic sort of wash. Probably best if I get in this, maybe like another imaginary building or something behind here. So just fill that in a bit more there. Okay. Here we go. And this wall, just going to darken the wall a bit on this right hand side. Okay. Using that same mixture of my three primaries together. Okay, for that wall on the right hand side. And interestingly, we've also got these figures that are just walking around, and you can put in a bit of color for them. You know, I've got some blue here. Let's just put in a bit of blue for this figure. And I've on the one just in front, I just put in a bit of grayish color there. Okay, just a bit for like the shirts and what have you that they're wearing. That, and you can leave and see a tiny bit of that yellow on the right hand side of them as well. That helps to indicate a touch of light. Okay, got their legs, another figure there just walking towards us there. Legs, legs. Okay, another couple of legs. Connect that onto the body, the shape of the body. You've got this one here, just kind of walking towards the left, maybe. Oops. This larger sort of figure here as well. I'm going to get in the back of the shirt with just one wash of this same kind of darker color. Okay. And I think it's probably too early to do this, but his hat, yeah, can still get in a bit of that hat. I'll probably have to refine it later. Okay. There. Let's put on some legs, a couple of legs for him. Running down the page. I'm going to dry off that brush a little bit so that I can just get in more of a dry brush like effect like this. Connect the legs up a bit more like there in the center. Yep, that looks okay. Just checking. I always like to check the proportions just to make sure it's all kind of looking around the same height. Okay. There's that dog. Let's just get in a bit of that indication of the dog here. A couple of legs at the back and a tail here, maybe. There you go. That's a dog. And the leash here. That. Okay. More figures. There's another one just walking in the scene that I painted earlier here. So just put in that. And also the ones, a couple of figures there in the background. You know, lighter shades as well. And I'm always trying to leave a bit of light on the right-hand side of that figure as well. So I can potentially just go through afterwards and leave that out as the light. So I don't need to use any gouache. Now on the ground, what I've noticed is that there is actually, there's actually a shadow being cast by the wall. I'm going to mix up a really light shade of grey. Lots of water in here. Tons of water. And let's just give that a go. It's about maybe 10% water. 10% paint, sorry. And I can have that come through, and there's actually like a large, you see sort of shadow shape just run through like here, there, that, here, you know, just of that wall that's casting a shadow, and maybe the statues, I think that's what's creating this shadow shape. Okay. And you can see that shadow just run all the way towards the back, even underneath and near to those figures there. All right, good. I'm letting everything mix together a touch as well. All right. Still, I've only stuck with the 3 colors and the 3 brushes. Okay. Now, one thing I want to do is to get in some of these really dark colors, and certainly like for the statues and the statues as well, the lamps, stuff like that. A little bit of darkness in there would be good. So I'm just mixing myself up a really dark color by combining my 3 primaries together. Red, blue, and yellow. Red, blue, and yellow. There we go. I've got a pretty dark sort of color here. It's a purplish sort of color. Let's mix some more yellow in there. There we go. That's like a really dark gray sort of color. Okay. And I'm going to just go in and put in some details for these lamps, for example. Okay. Tricky to do this with just this one brush, but we can do it. Okay. Get that darker, more blue in there maybe. You really need to add in those really dark blues in order to get that final darkest value. You know, this statue here, I'm just going to cut around the left side of the statue, and you can see there's bits of light that are showing through. So I'm cutting around, leaving a bit of that light, okay, on parts of that statue as well. Okay, tiny bit of that. Something there maybe. That's okay. That's all right. I do think it probably should be a little bit darker on the left, so I'm just going to redo that a touch. Okay, good. Again, I'm going to repeat for this other sort of statue here. Simple. Really simplify that down there. Leave a bit of that light on the statue. There's another statue here, you know, leave a bit of light. Again, you know, you can even pick up a bit of that dry brush again and just paint in another lamp here. Another one that I might have missed out, like this. There you go, a simple sort of lamp. Good. Now for the ones here to the right, same kind of process, but I'm leaving in a lot of the light on the right-hand side of them statues. Okay. Just simplified down. Yeah, I'm not wanting to spend too much time on this. There again, this lamp, just a little thing like that. Okay. When you move into the background, becomes all very abstract, and then you can just put in what might look like a bunch of statues, but there could be anything just out the back there. Okay. And I like to put in some really dark sections in the buildings too. But I will firstly work on these shadows for the figures. So a bit of darker paint. It's about 50% paint, 50% water. And I'm going to join up the legs of these figures and put in just that same shadow running to the left, like that. This this figure here, maybe some of these other figures there in front as well. This one here as well, like that. Joining that onto the bodies of the figures, like that. That. Maybe this one here as well. Here. Oops. Darken the legs a little bit to connect on to the legs. Be nice. Okay. Good. This figure here in the background, probably a little shadow to the left would be good. There. There's like bags and things here in the walls, and shadows cast by maybe other people walking in front there as well. So I'm just getting a little bit of that impression of those shadows and things like this. Okay. I'm just using one brush to do all this. Okay. Now we're almost done. I just want to get in some final darker colors to indicate some windows and stuff like that here in the back. Blue, red, and more of this yellow to make a really dark color. And let's just go straight in. I'm just thinking maybe dry the brush off a bit. That helps. This dome could do with a little dry brush here. Here, maybe a window here, perhaps. Bit of detailing on this tower, like that. But it's not really necessary. I mean, if we've simplified this all down into one big silhouette, you can just get away with it still. But I do think sometimes a little bit of that extra detail does help. For example, you might want to make this roof out in the background a little bit darker. Don't need to, but it does look a little darker than the rest of the building, so you can do that. I'll just feather that off a touch. And this is actually good because it might make this tower come out a bit more as well. Okay. Good. Couple of windows here as well for this building to the right hand side. Okay. All right. Pretty simple sort of sketch. I might add in just a little gouache here at the end. A little bit of white gouache. And mix it in with some yellow so that I've got like a highlight color. Maybe you can bring out like the hat. This person here in the front, a little bit of the shoulder, sides, this kind of golden light maybe hitting the side of the figure here, this figure here, the foreground, bit of light on the shoulder. Okay. Not bad. It's pretty loose, but I want to give the other one a go. Let's dry this one off. I'll swap over to another bit of paper. All right, just going to swap over the reference photo to the second one that I'm going to sketch now. Okay, where is it? Here it is. Yep, so it's kind of like a wider sort of scene. It's going to be a bit difficult for you guys to see this one. Yeah, I'll maybe move the paper over a bit so that the reference can come through. I could put it up on the top right corner. Yeah, that's better. All right. How's everyone going with that first one? I was kind of a bit distracted before. That first one turned out a lot more looser than I thought, but I want to go again on this second version. And one thing that I find that you have to do all the time with your reference photos, you really have to alter them around. You know, for example, this second reference, the light is just, it really doesn't look like there's much light in this particular scene at all. Okay, it's something like a soft light maybe coming from just above. Yeah, it could be like a soft kind of overcast day. Okay, so I'm going to use that same technique, and we're trying to get that silhouette, okay, that nice little silhouette of the buildings out in the background. And I think for this one, I'm going to be using a few more colors. I want to try a few more colors in here as well, not just those basic colors I had before, but you know, around the same. All right, so we will put a line about a third of the way through the scene from the bottom. So about, give it a third like that. So divide the scene up into 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Yeah. All right, so that you've got enough, the 2/3 just above, and from about, I'd say, a third from the right, we're going to go and draw in this bottom of this wall. Start going around here, and there, the ledge of the wall here. Okay, just a little ledge, and of course, on top of this ledge, you have got this statue here. You know, and I'm not really putting in too much detail, just sketching in the basic bits and pieces of the statue. Okay, maybe make a little bit taller. Okay. Good. Some trees here, little trees. Here we've got the main tower. Just sketch that in again like a rectangular shape, like this. Rectangular shape, and you can see the opening here. And like this. Let's get in the rooftop. And yeah, I'm just looking at this in terms of shapes. I'm drawing in the shapes. Rectangle, triangle, rectangle, 2 triangles on the roof. See, if you look at that, the roof of this tower, it's, yeah, top of the tower, it's a rectangle with 2 triangles on the side. That's how I simplify things down. And put in, look, there's all these detail on here, but I'm not gonna like bother with it. Just get in enough so that you can see that tower. There is a building here to the right. You know, it's just a rooftop, kind of like this reddish brown color. And then there's more of these buildings here to the right hand side. Okay, I'm just going to simplify these down. They kind of just disappear off to the right. They're not a big deal. Okay. Let's have a look over here. We've got like another sort of archway maybe there, or like an opening there. Yeah. That's this other building, another triangle. Here's another triangle. I'm not concerned with 100% accuracy here. Just even if you try not to lift your pencil off the paper, I find that helps keep things loose, stops you from thinking too much. If you make a mistake, it's not a huge deal as well. You can always just correct it later in the actual painting itself. And remember, all these buildings, again, same thing. I want to get that silhouette-like effect similar to what we had before. Okay, now this wall comes around here. Let's have a look. This wall all the way in, like maybe there. Yeah. And yeah, there. Bring that in. There you go. That's a wall. And we've got this one here. Okay. This wall here to the right. I'm just trying to look at it to see if it makes sense or not as well. There's another building here. Triangle kind of top. And of course, you've got this sort of dome. Again, this dome-like shape here. Like this. And a bit of this squarish part and then a little dome part on top like that. There we go. Windows, all that jazz. Another dome or something out in the back there. There's so much going on and you can really get stressed out if you try to draw every single thing in. There is this one, lamp here. Just get a bit of that detail. Just suggest that lamp. Bring it down here. We've got a statue here as well. I'm going to get that statue in like this. Looks like there's a couple of smaller figures there and the larger sort of statue there. That at the back. That's it. Simple. Simplify down. And there's buildings and all that in the background, as well as this large tree or shrub there. So that's all the background buildings pretty much sketched in. I want to do a bit of sketching for the figures. I'll put one just walking here. And just thinking about the light source as well. We could have the light source almost coming in from the back. Yeah, let's just put in some more people and whatever walking around in here. Walking through this scene. I'm trying to like put in a bit of something for the shadow underneath them to see how it would potentially make sense. A bit of shadow underneath the figures would be good, kind of coming towards the back. Yeah, that could work. It could also just come directly from above, but it's no big deal. I just want sort of a clean shadow, but I don't want longer ones like I had before. Okay. Just a personal preference. I want to try something different maybe. Another person walking forwards here. Maybe. The shadow underneath them like that. Another person maybe here. Maybe like a collared shirt or something. And could we get this person just coming out? Let me just see if we can get them just coming, like potentially out of the whole scene. How's that look? Could work. Don't know. Yeah, kind of like the legs are out of coming out the bottom. Yeah, we can do that. We can do that. this right hand side. Also, I think I need to put in someone here. Just leg forwards and then one leg back there. Just walking again into the scene. And cast shadow underneath. Good, 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 good. Okay, I think we are ready to get started with the painting. It's all about experimentation, and these little sketches, I don't really care what happens. If it works out, turns into a decent picture, a decent painting, I'm happy, but if it doesn't, I don't mind either. A bit of yellow and some brown. Adding in a few more colors to my repertoire this time. So a bit of this brown, okay, brown ochre for this building out the back. Whoops, come on. Okay, it's pretty dark brown actually, but let's just put that in. We want to get in through this wash, hopefully a more lighter wash for everything, and then on the top of that we can go over with the darker color. Okay, it's really just a brown, just a light kind of brown ochre color. Good. A few brush strokes, and this time the stream doesn't crash on me. I'll be able to get in everything in one go. So underneath, I'm going to pick up some yellow ochre. I'm just going to blend that yellow ochre in like that to the bottom of that tower. Okay, just one go, leave it, and we move on to the left hand side, which is kind of like a creamy color. I've got a bit of gouache mixed in with yellow ochre. I'm gonna get that creamy sort of white color coming across. Okay, cutting around those figures. It's not light enough. I need more. Got a bit of titanium white. That helps as well. In this building here on the right, you can even just leave some of them white as well if that's easier. Okay, but that could do with a bit of this creamy white color here. Okay. I really love painting loosely and not worrying too much about the outcome. Bit of brown for this other building here, maybe. Yeah. Good. Bit of brown like that. Just let it blend in with everything else. Okay. I'm picking up some of that purplish color and I'm feathering it in at the base of these buildings as well. Just want to create a bit of extra contrast for the figures and that kind of thing. Not only that, we've also got these other, whatchamacallit, trees and stuff as well, but I will firstly continue working on this, some of these buildings there. Okay, let's bring some of this color down the page. Okay, this milky sort of color. Let's bring it down the page and cut around those figures a bit. Yeah, I want it to be a nice sort of sunny day. Okay, but not too saturated. I don't want the colors to look too saturated. So yeah. Okay. Bit more yellow ochre maybe in here. Maybe a tiny bit of, yes, this is all right. Just a little bit of more saturated yellow in some parts. Losing out some of that color here. Okay, the wall just needs to be that, and we need some kind of background color for that wall. Okay, here to the right, there's that building, but again, I'm not going to bother too much with that. I'm going to go with that, the bit of burnt sienna, and let's just put in this rooftop with like a quick, like something like that, you know? The dome of this building is kind of like a cooler color, so I can pick up whatever the remainder cool color I've left on the paper, the palette, And see if I just blend that in a little bit more with that wash. Okay, that's all right. There, here, another tower, and this top part of that building. I would have liked that to be a bit more bluish, actually. Let me just mix up some more. There we go. We notice when you put in a little bit of that blue, it really pops out because of how warm everything else is. Forgotten this rooftop, and then also forgotten this one here to the left. Again, some burnt sienna for that roof. Basic sort of roof like that. Okay, it's looking all right. Looking all right. How's everyone going? I've got Maria watching from Malaysia and Christine from Turkey. Good to see you both. Let's play around with a bit of green. A little bit of green here for these trees, bushes, or whatever. Yeah, just darker green. Cut around that figure as well. And I'm really doing my best to find ways to use just fewer brushstrokes. If I can paint something in a few brushstrokes, I'll do that. That's preferable. You know, here as well, look, a bit of green for this tree or whatever here behind and there. Okay, few brushstrokes do the trick. I can maybe lift out a bit of color there as well. It's just too dark. Right. Righto. Light green. Light green in here. A little bit of that yellow mixed in with the darker green helps to give it that lighter look. There. There. Okay, good. Now the background of everything, the background of the sky. So we're gonna. I think I'm just gonna go in with like a ultramarine blue, but I keep in mind I do have all this other stuff mixed on my palette as well, so it's probably just gonna end up looking a bit more dull. But we'll try. Just pop that in like that. Very, very light mix of ultramarine blue. Okay, maybe where's my big mop brush? Larger mop brush here. Okay. Ultramarine blue for the sky. Move that down. Okay, and now these buildings would have pretty much dried because we've given it a little bit of time. So if you go over the top of these buildings, it's not going to just spread all into the sky. And this allows you to kind of just get this sort of nice, soft look to the sky, but still have the sharpness of the buildings here in the front. Let's do this stuff to the left now. And as you notice, I'm actually mixing in a little bit of darker paint in here as well. Okay, to create maybe a cloud or something like that. Okay, in some parts. More ultramarine, just to make it the same. Where is it? Yeah, there we go. As long as you've got a cooler color in the sky, you're going to be all right. Okay. There we have it. Okay. Good. Smaller mop brush. I want to just go back into that sky again and maybe chuck in a bit of that purple to create don't know, some darker cloud shapes in areas. Yep. Some parts like here, maybe here, here. Okay. Good. Hopefully this will dry off a little bit lighter as well. I like how that is looking so far. kind of actually creating a contrast for this center bit. Okay, a bit of color for the figures. So let's pick up whatever you want to put in for these figures. Really, you could pick up a bit of this teal color. Okay, light teal sort of color, and I'm putting that in. And notice how vibrant that figure looks, because everything else is, I haven't used that much vibrancy in any other part of my scene, so the blue really sticks out. So you try to save those real vibrant bits for later. You know, this person here, I want to get that person in the front in more of like a darker black suit maybe, so I'll just, in the background, I'll put in, I don't know, just this color for the figure walking in front. I really don't care. They can be the same color even, like that. Just as long as we've got a base color for them. Okay. A bit of base color. I do find when you move out the back as well that things just become more, whatchamacallit, more abstract. Yeah, I had to dab that off, unfortunately, because some of that color spread into the bottom part of the scene. This figure here to the left, look, I'll just go with like a bit of blue, and then afterwards I'll put in the kind of the rest of the suit in kind of like darker black in the background. Same with the bottom part. Okay, so I'm going to give this a really quick dry. Okay. Now, next step. Got a few bunch of you watching along. Let me know how you're going. Must be busy painting along with me, but we're gonna go and put in the final step, which is, yeah, basically any of the dark colors. I'm thinking actually the buildings in the back look pretty nice. All I want to do is potentially just add in the windows, a little bit of detail for the buildings. But mainly, you know, I want to get in the shadow for the figures and, you know, the statues and things like that as well. But let me know how you're all going in the chats. And I'm going to get started anyway. So let's mix up a color of, I'm basically going to use a bit of purple and already got some purple here actually, maybe some blue, red, and yellow. Get ourselves a nice kind of grayish color, but I will need to really get this a bit darker. Neutral tint. Where's it? Some brown. Here we go. A bit of brown. My aim is to get in this sort of statue detail of the statue. Really needs to be a bit darker. Let's have a look. It is pretty much the darkest part of the scene. So if I can just do it in one go, this will be easy. Easier if we do it this way. Okay. A few brush strokes as well. Okay. Like that. Okay, where's the other statue? I've almost lost where they are. It's difficult to see once you've gone over the pencil. But as you can see, it's not too hard. You're really just implying what's going on in there in one silhouette. Okay, good, good. You got a bit of darkness underneath this this area there. You know, you might think to yourself, hey, let's put in a bit of, you know, tiny details and stuff. I don't like this section of the tower, you know, separate out some bits and pieces like this. Okay. Don't want to overdo it, just a little something. What else do we have here in the background? Like a little bit of this, like detail of the rooftops. You see these sort of triangular bits or whatever. You can just imply them, and I always use my finger to just like dab off that excess paint if there's too much on there, or if I've just gone overboard, because I'd still want this to be more of a silhouette in the background, and when it starts getting too detailed and distracting from the rest of the scene, that's when I just try to stop it and continue. Okay. Okay. Some windows and stuff here as well. Look at this one. There's all kinds of windows. I'll just simplify this down like that. Basic. It's about almost done. Thank you for all your patience today. It's been a bit frustrating having to paint with all these technical issues, but we will get through it, everybody. And what I was doing a little bit before was basically just putting in the statues with a darker paint, making sure that it comes through to the front. There's also, I want to get in a little bit of this, maybe like, don't know what you'd call it, but little shrubs and things as well. Just another layer of darker green in some parts. Okay, just feathering it in. I'm using the edge of my brush for this. Okay, just the edge of my brush like that, and I want to just help that to feather into to everything else. Even here on this side, a little bit of extra darkness would be good for these like little shrubs or what have you. Trees, they look like shrubs because they're so yeah, because they are so small, but they're actually just far away. Okay, now this wall, I want to get in some detail on this wall. Okay, a grey color I think will be fine. Just a light greyish sort of color. I want it to I want to make sure that it still sticks out from the back of this scene. Okay, that in the background, so it kind of comes, still is strong enough to come forwards. Okay. Interesting one, because I mean, if I'm making the light source coming from above, yeah, there should technically be like a little bit of light on top of that wall still. Maybe if I can get some little guiding lines running through, but let's put in the figures first, just some darker color for the legs. Okay, dark color for the legs, and this was that figure that I wanted to do, kind of like a suit or something here. There. Let's try just with the dark color. That. Maybe holding on to like a briefcase or who knows, like that. This is just a bit of like dark, really dark color black, really. You can use neutral tint. That works too. I'm going to go into the other figures and just do the same. Just get the legs in a little bit, a little darker than the rest of the body. Okay. And a shadow underneath like this. Just blend that in. There we go. Bit of shadow underneath the figure. And that figure as well. Let's try for this one. There. Okay. Leg behind for that one. Okay. Just leaving a bit of that light on the shoulder as well. And then underneath, just joining up the shadow with the legs. Looking at it from trying to see if that makes sense or not. There we are. Another one here, 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 there. You know, more figures. When they're in the distance, you don't need to worry too much about the detail of the shadow. It just a bit easier. Okay. Little kind of guiding lines on the ground. I think it needs something like this. Maybe. The bottom of this wall, probably darker. The bottom of this wall a little bit darker as well, where it hits the ground. Okay. Some more little windows and stuff here in the back. You see, for this building that's completely white, putting these little windows here actually make it look better, I think. Even these ones there, you know, you got this towers as well here. Just redo some of these. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Give it a quick dry. One thing I've forgotten to do is to put some of these other lamps here. You see, just this one, I've forgot to put it in. So I'm gonna just quickly add it in like that. Just indicate something there. Another one maybe here. Here. Okay. Could put one here as well. Why not? It's just to even it up. And some of you might want to actually go in and change that color in it a bit, but I'm not too fussed. Yeah, it's just finishing, basically some little finishing touches, and you know, I could pick up a bit of gouache and also bring out some final highlights on the figures. I think that would be a nice way to finish it off. So a bit of white gouache, touch of gouache on top of the heads and the shoulders of these figures to really bring out the darks here. That figure, that's a bit better. Okay, especially the ones here in the back. And a lot of these little sketches I do, they tend to form the basis of more of some of my larger paintings, and I'll, yeah, basically play around a little bit and experiment with different colors, different brushstrokes, different styles of how I paint things as well. Okay, because you're not really trying to come up with anything too impressive here. It's basic sort of basic brushstrokes and kind of practicing that efficiency of your brushstrokes as well. Would have been good if I can get in just a, I don't know, a little touch of color, like, I don't know, a bit of sunlight on this top of this. Yeah, may not work. That looks okay. I've not put any hair on these figures, by the way. Don't need to, but that's probably, I should have done that before I went through the gouache as well. Okay, but that's pretty much it. I will bring both of them together, just give you a quick look of both. How did you go today? I hope you enjoyed yourself despite all the little interruptions from the stream just cutting in and out, just driving me nuts as well. But, you know, got through it. I always like to see things through to the end. You know, even if it's not working out well, I'll always just try to push through, unless it's really, really a hopeless endeavor. But today, I think I'm glad that I went through with it. And yeah, these are the two little scenes that we've done. Two small sketches of Prague, and it just goes to show you really don't need much time to paint these. You know, half an hour each is more than manageable, and you don't need to labor away and just continually try to detail constantly. You just put in minimal brushstrokes, you can get a really nice impression of what's going on. So I think afterwards, maybe I might add some little lines here on the ground, but I actually almost like the look that one has. It's very minimalist, and you can see this, how I've found one big shape and just connected it. See, with the buildings and then connecting onto the shadows here, connecting onto the people. It's almost one big shadow shape. Here it's a little bit more complicated, but similar kind of thing. But if you're using only 3 colors like there, it's a lot easier. So guys, yeah, if you enjoyed this workshop, do me a favor and click the like button on the video, share it with a friend as well. Does me does me a really good favor in terms of just getting my videos out to more people. And what else was I going to say again? Yeah, if you have any questions as well, you're watching afterwards, just leave it in the chat or in the comments. I'll get back to you. Do have a Patreon and a course as well, so just check the video description. There's more details in there. I'm probably gonna do a more planned workshop in the future. I don't know, maybe 2 weeks or so on a particular topic. So if you've got ideas on what I should run for that, yeah, I'm all ears as well. Yeah, these smaller ones, these little sketching workshop sessions have been good fun for me, and I hope they've been informative for you as well. And, you know, a lot of these little paintings, like I'm showing you today, like I don't really show anyone any of these paintings because they're just really quick. I don't care about the detail. I don't care about them looking too polished. As long as it kind of gets me painting and trying new things and being brave and just going for it, you know, despite what happens. I think you got to have a little bit of that in watercolors. So great, Stacy. Thank you, Stacy, Jerry, and Nilgun and Cynthia. All right, everyone. I'm probably going to end the stream now. It'll be me ending the stream, not the program shutting down on me. Okay, but I will catch you all next time.